Hello, welcome to wonderfulwoodworking.com. Omer Sherrist here. And what I'm doing here is just introducing you to some of the actual making of these wooden toy replicas. And today what we're going to be looking at is this hi-ho, which, as you can see, everything works on it much the same as the real thing. It articulates, swivels around, the tracks all work on it, and very realistic to the look and to the touch. It does much of what the real thing does. Now, in making these here, of course, like anything else, you should have a good blueprint to go by. Now, the blueprints here are excellent because everything is exactly to scale. If you cut your pieces exactly the same as what it shows in the diagrams on here, this is what you would end up with, is a toy replica just as you see it right there. And there again, you'll see on here different colors of wood that I use, and that's just strictly to emphasize different parts and pieces on the unit, because we don't stain any of these here. They're all a natural finish on them. Lacquered, and that's the only way we change the color is by changing the type of wood that's on there. Such as here we have oak, we have maple in here, and sometimes I will use black walnut, this type of thing, but this is oak and maple, this one here primarily. And the cylinders here, they're all made out of doweling. The kits that you can get are basically dowelings, little pins, and wheels like for the big trucks and that. But other than that, everything is made strictly off the blueprints here. This particular unit, I believe, has four different sheets of pieces that you have to make. And this one here is actually the engine block and the chassis that you see back here. And it gives you very detailed pictures and explanation as to how to do that. Here you have a diagram of the undercarriage in here, the block that this pivots on in there, and it shows you exactly how to do that part of it. It also shows you here a picture of the inside of the cab, how to make the seat, the controls, everything that looks much the same as the real thing. And then, of course, here comes the fun part. This is the undercarriage. This right here, all the undercarriage of the unit. These little track pads all have to be made individually. I believe there's something like 80 of them on that thing there. And I dare say you won't make that in a day. I think it took me about 4 days to do just the track pads on this machine. So it does get quite involved. You have the undercarriage here that the tracks roll on. You've got all your little guide wheels underneath there. And yeah, very detailed. And as you can see over here, it tells you exactly in detail how to achieve that. So it's great. Now, one thing I would recommend you do as you go along doing these different replicas and that is make sure that you make some jigs along the way. This particular jig here, excuse me, doesn't look like much, but it does a lot. This is for making the little pads for the tracks. And what I do with this here, I use that with my bandsaw there in the back, and I clamp this to the bandsaw. And because you start out with just a little block of wood like this here for each track pad, but they all have to be notched in and then with a hole drilled through them, because they're all pinned together to make them flex and to work properly. But to start out on the bandsaw, to cut the little notches out, I use a little jig just like this here and cut where you want the notches cut out. And it just works great and saves a lot of time, and you get all your pieces are identical that way. Works great. Okay, that pretty well covers our hi-ho in this series here. Thank you very much for watching.